My name is
Ladies
Sarah
and gentlemen,
Chen. I'm
welcome
38
to the
years
most
old. 5
insane
months ago,
mega
my best
ramp
friend
in
of 24
GTA
years
5
told me something
history.
that
I'm
obliterated
talking
everything I
sky
thought I
high
knew about my
stunts,
life.
zero
She told me that
gravity
my
jumps,
13-year-old
and
daughter
crashes
isn't actually
so
my
wild.
biological daughter.
Buckle up
She told me
because
that she
this
switched our
ride's
babies
gonna
at
be
birth.
absolute
And she told me
chaos.
why. Let me explain how two people who loved each other could do something so catastrophically cruel. Michelle and I met at summer camp when we were 14 years old. We became inseparable. We went to the same university, lived in the same apartment building after college, went to each other's weddings, celebrated each other's pregnancies. We were sisters in everything except blood. We both got pregnant at the same time. I was married to my husband Tom. Michelle was married to her husband Derek. Our due dates were only 3 weeks apart. Michelle was due first, May 15th. I was due June 4th. On May 13th, Michelle went into labor. She called me from the hospital, terrified and excited. "I'm doing this," she said. "I'm about to be a mom." She gave birth to a daughter that night, Lily. I went to the hospital the day after and held my goddaughter for the first time. She was perfect. 10 fingers, 10 toes, beautiful red hair like Michelle's. I was so happy for my best friend. "She's going to be such good friends with my daughter," I told Michelle. "They'll grow up together." "Best friends like us," Michelle said, squeezing my hand. "I want that so badly for them." 3 weeks later, I went into labor. Tom drove me to the same hospital. After 16 hours of painful labor, I gave birth to a daughter too, Emma. She had Tom's dark hair, my brown eyes, and she was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. Tom was crying. I was crying. The nurses were congratulating us. Everything felt perfect. I was exhausted, so I slept for most of that first night. When I woke up the next morning, a nurse brought me my baby for feeding. I barely registered anything except that I had my daughter, she was healthy, and I was completely in love. Tom brought a camera to photograph Emma. He took pictures of her in the hospital bassinet, her tiny fingers, her newborn face. He texted the photos to everyone he knew. I didn't notice anything was off. Michelle came to visit that afternoon. She held Emma and cooed at her. "She's so beautiful," she said. "Tom's genes really came through with the hair." "I know," I said proudly. "Everyone says she looks just like him." We took photos together. Me, Michelle, and Emma. In every single photo, I look blissfully happy. I look like a woman who has no idea her entire life is about to become a lie. The weird part is, I didn't notice anything different about Emma as she grew up. She had Tom's coloring. She had some of my personality traits. She liked the same foods I liked. She was good at math like Tom. She hated sports like me. She was perfect. She was mine. 13 years passed. Emma was brilliant in school. She was kind, funny, thoughtful. She loved her dad. She was close to me, but also independent. She was exactly the daughter I'd always wanted. Lily, Michelle's daughter, was different. She was wild. Not in a bad way, but in an untamed way. She was athletic. She was outgoing. She had this chaotic energy that made everyone around her exhausted just watching her. She was brilliant at sports, but struggled in school. She was the opposite of Emma in almost every way. Michelle and I would joke about it constantly. "Thank God your daughter got the brains and mine got the sports genes," Michelle would say. We balanced each other out. But then Lily started getting into serious trouble. She was shoplifting. She was sneaking out. She got caught with marijuana at 15. She dropped out of high school. She got pregnant at 17. Tom and I would try to support Michelle through it all. "She's just going through a phase," we'd say. But it didn't feel like a phase. It felt like Lily was fundamentally different from Emma, fundamentally wired differently, and no amount of love or discipline could change that. Michelle started making comments. "I don't know where she came from," she'd say. "She's nothing like me or Derek. It's like she's a different person entirely." Around the same time, Emma started having anxiety and depression. Out of nowhere, she developed panic attacks. She started isolating. She became emotionally volatile in ways that shocked me. Tom and I took her to therapists. We got her on medication. We tried everything we could think of. "I'm sorry I'm like this," Emma told me one night while crying. "I feel like something's wrong with me, like I'm fundamentally broken." "You're not broken," I told her, holding her. "You're perfect. You're my perfect girl." But deep down, I was terrified. Mental illness ran through my family like a poison. My mother had struggled with bipolar disorder. My uncle had severe anxiety. My grandfather had been institutionalized. I'd always been worried that Emma might inherit these issues, and here we were, watching it happen in real time. I felt guilty. I felt like I'd passed something toxic to my daughter, something in my genes that was causing her to suffer. That guilt was eating me alive. Then, last November, Michelle called me. She said she needed to talk to me in person. She sounded weird, strained, like she was about to cry. We met at our favorite coffee shop, the same place we'd been going to since college. She ordered a coffee but didn't touch it. She just stared at it for a long time. I need to tell you something, she said finally, and I need you to promise me that no matter what happens, you'll listen to the entire story before you react. You're scaring me, I said. I should be, Michelle said. She took a deep breath. Sarah, I switched our babies at birth. I literally laughed. I thought she was joking, some elaborate prank. That's not funny, I said. I'm not joking, Michelle said quietly. She then told me the most insane story I've ever heard in my entire life. On the night I gave birth to Emma, Michelle was in the hospital recovery room. She was supposed to be sleeping, but she couldn't sleep. She was having severe postpartum anxiety. She was obsessed with the idea that Lily would inherit her family's mental health issues. Her grandfather had been schizophrenic. Her mother had severe bipolar disorder. Michelle had struggled with depression her entire life. I was lying there at 3 a.m., Michelle told me, and I thought about how you'd just given birth, and I thought about how mental illness runs through your family like it runs through mine, and I had this moment of absolute insanity where I thought, what if I switched them? That's insane, I said. You didn't actually. I did, Michelle said. I got out of bed, I walked to the nursery, I told the nurse that I wanted to spend some time with Lily, and she let me take her. Then I went to your room. You were asleep. Tom was asleep in the chair. I took Emma from your bassinet. I felt the room tilt. I gripped the coffee cup to steady myself. I switched them, Michelle continued. I put Emma in the bassinet next to your bed, and I put Lily back in the nursery under my name. Then I went back to recovery and waited to see if anyone would notice. Nobody noticed? I asked, my voice sounding far away. Nobody noticed, Michelle confirmed. The nurses didn't notice. You didn't notice. Tom didn't notice. The hospital didn't notice. I got away with it. But why? I was starting to hyperventilate. Why would you do that? Because I was sick, Michelle said. She was crying now. Because I was terrified that Lily would end up like my mother, unable to function, medicated, hospitalized multiple times. And I looked at you, and you seemed so stable, and I thought maybe if Lily was raised by you and Tom, maybe she'd escape the family curse. And Emma? I asked. What about Emma? You just gave your biologically damaged daughter to me? I thought, Michelle said quietly, that if you raised Emma, maybe she'd be okay. Maybe she'd escape your family's mental health issues. But she didn't escape them, I said bitterly. She's been struggling with depression and anxiety since she was 14. I know, Michelle said, and that's when I realized I'd made a horrible mistake. I started wondering if I'd done this for nothing, if I'd destroyed 4 people's lives, mine, yours, Emma's, and Lily's, for absolutely nothing. I couldn't breathe. I actually couldn't breathe. I stood up from the table and walked outside. Michelle followed me. I stood on the sidewalk with my hands shaking, and I looked at my best friend, the woman who had supposedly known me better than anyone, and I saw a complete stranger. I'm going to need a DNA test, I said finally. I know, Michelle said. The DNA test came back 2 weeks later, and it confirmed everything. Emma is not my biological daughter. She's Michelle's biological daughter. She has Michelle's genetic predisposition to depression and anxiety. She inherited the family curse that Michelle was so desperate to help her escape. Lily is my biological daughter. She has my family's genetic markers. She has my mother's athletic genes, my uncle's chaotic energy, some of my grandfather's unpredictable nature. I've now had 13 years of raising the wrong daughter, loving the wrong daughter, and building an entire identity around being Emma's mother. Emma took the news surprisingly well. She said that knowing she's biologically Michelle's daughter actually helped her understand herself better. She said it's not about biology, it's about knowing why she is the way she is. And that knowledge somehow made her feel less broken. Tom, on the other hand, is a wreck. He's filed for divorce. He says he can't look at me without thinking about the lie, about the hospital, about everything being a fraud. Lily is angry. She's angry at Michelle for switching her. She's angry at me for not being her mother. She's angry at her actual mother, Michelle, for trying to escape her genetics. She moved in with me 6 months ago, and we're trying to build a relationship, but it's complicated and painful. As for Michelle, she's in therapy now. She's on medication. She says she's been having suicidal ideation. She's completely devastated about what she's done. She wants me to forgive her. She wants us to be friends again. I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can forgive someone for stealing my daughter and replacing her with someone else. But here's what's tearing me apart. I love Emma. I love my 13-year-old daughter with every cell in my body. I've loved her since the day she was born, even though she's not actually my biological daughter, even though I was lied to. So does it matter that she's not genetically mine? Does that love become less valid because of a lie? I've been seeing a therapist, too. We've been talking about identity and bonds and whether love is about biology or about the time and energy you invest in another person. You chose to love Emma, my therapist told me, whether or not you knew you were choosing it. And that love is real, regardless of biology. But Tom sees it differently. He feels like his entire marriage is a fraud. He feels like his love for Emma is false because it's not his daughter. He feels betrayed in ways that I'm not even sure I've fully processed yet. The hardest part about this situation is that I now have two daughters, and I'm not sure how to be a mother to either of them. Emma wants me to continue being her mom. She doesn't care about the biology. She wants things to stay the same. Lily wants to know me, but she's also angry at me for not being the person who raised her. She's had a different life, a chaotic life, a difficult life, because she was raised by Michelle and Derek, who didn't know how to handle her personality. What if I had raised Lily? What if the switch had never happened? Would she still be a difficult, chaotic person? Or would I have raised her differently because she was actually my daughter? I'll never know the answer to that question. The switch happened because Michelle thought she was trying to save her daughter from a family curse. Instead, she created a different curse. She created a situation where two daughters don't belong to their biological families, where an identity is built on a lie, where love becomes complicated and suspect. Michelle says she was trying to do the right thing. She says she was trying to protect her daughter, but all she did was destroy everything. Last week, Emma asked me if I'm sad that she's not my biological daughter. I told her the truth. I'm not sad that she's not my biological daughter. I'm sad that her biological mother thought she needed to be switched in the first place. I'm sad that Michelle didn't trust that I could raise her daughter with love. I'm sad that she didn't trust that Emma could overcome whatever genetic predisposition she inherited, because here's the thing. Emma is going to be okay. She's getting help. She's learning to manage her mental health. She's becoming a beautiful, complex person despite her genetics, despite her family history, despite everything. And that's not because of biology. That's because of love. That's because of time. That's because of the decision, moment by moment, to show up and try. Michelle's mistake was thinking that biology matters more than all of that. And now we're all paying the price for that mistake. I don't know if I'll ever forgive her. I don't know if Tom and I will stay married. I don't know how Lily and I will navigate our complicated relationship. What I do know is that Emma is still my daughter. And nothing, not biology, not a hospital switch, not a lifetime of lies, can change that. But I also know that the person I thought was my best friend deliberately deceived me for 13 years, and I'm not sure I'll ever recover from that betrayal.